What is going on, Bangers? Today's a beautiful day in LA. I'm Alejandro, and let's talk about cars. Yo, hit it, Pedro! In today's episode of Let's Talk About Cars, my dear cup to the bangers, I want to talk about the cars that we all work for, the cars that we all dream about, the cars that we all have in mind, and that unfortunately are mostly impossible to get for anyone like me or pretty much anyone else unless you have the right contacts. These are the unicorns of each brand. These are probably the unicorns of the unicorns. And in order for anyone to get any of these cars, you have to go through a vetting process by the manufacturer, and they're all completely different. So we're gonna go one by one in the top 5 of my liking, and you guys tell me what you think, which one's your favorite of these, which one would you do the craziest thing for, and if it's worth the process or not. So please let me know in the comments down below after you watch the video. Now let's get started. Number 1, with one of the cars that I'm the most excited about right now, the new replacement of the Maserati MC12. There has been a lot of talk and there's been a lot of movement and heat around this conversation. So back when the Enzo came out, Maserati decided they were going to do the same thing. They were going to release a hypercar of their own with the Enzo platform. Maserati and Ferrari are sibling companies, so sometimes they use the same platform to develop cars. In this time, it was the Enzo platform that Maserati grabbed, created the MC12, and in my opinion, that is one of the most legendary, undervalued cars that's out there right now. If you want to buy an Enzo here in the United States, you're going to have to shell out $3.5 million. For an MC12, only $1.2 to $1.6 million. That's not bad considering there's only 50 units that they produce compared to the 400 units that Ferrari made of the Enzo. So you can't compare the rarity. Also, you have to consider that MC12 is rumored to be quicker than the Enzo around any racetrack. So if that holds true, it's kind of a little ridiculous that that car is not looked at in the same light as the Enzo. Now, with the new one Maserati wants to do would be the Laferrari platform. Some people are even saying that they will grab the same platform and they will not add the battery motors, which I don't think anyone's gonna miss them. They're gonna build 50 of them. That's what everyone's saying. And in here, I just don't know who the hell gets to have an MC12. This is one of the most random ones out of the whole group. Because do you need to buy a Ghibli? Do you need to have 7 Ghiblis and then you qualify to get one of those if you get like a nice fucking financing deal on your Ghibli for $399 a month? Or do you have to buy the SUV? Do you have to buy the Ghibli, the GTs, have a history with Maserati? What the hell is that? No one knows. But the truth is, if a nobody like myself calls Maserati and says, hey Maserati, I want one of those cars, here's the money, they'll be like, no, señore, tú no tienes el coche, even though that's Spanish, that's a little bit Italian. So that's pretty much how that would go down. So in this one, I'm gonna ask you, what do you think, or anyone, if anyone knows in the comments, what's that process to get the new MC12? Because I am very interested. So MC12 would be number 1. Jumping into our number 2 car would be the Laferrari Aperta. And they're only going to produce 150 of them, same spec as the regular LaFerrari that you see today. They're going for 2.4 million euros right now, and it's one of the most sought after cars in the world. Flippers are already trying to get $5 to $6 million per car. So yeah, that's an insanely hot. And in order for anyone to get any of these Ferraris, you have to spend, and we've done this a million times, but we got the numbers. You have to spend roughly between $15 and $17 million building a collection and then building a relationship with Ferrari and begging them to give you one of these cars. Obviously, if you didn't get the box right now, you're not getting one. Anyone saying, oh, I might get one. If you didn't get the box, homie, you're not getting one unless someone drops out or you buy a very expensive spot. So LaFerrari Aperta, out of the question for anyone unless they want to shell out an insane amount of money for the first ones. The next one comes courtesy of Red Bull and Aston Martin, and that would be the Nebula. The new McLaren F1. That's what everyone is calling it. This Nebula, not even the McLaren F1, the Nebula will be the new McLaren F1. And the numbers that Aston Martin and Red Bull are promising are staggering, are completely exactly the same, as far, relatively speaking, as far as the F1 when it came out. It's supposed to pull an insane amount of G's per turn. The closest thing to a Formula 1 car. They're going to make it street legal. They're only going to make, I can't remember if they said 125 or 150 cars. They're going to be street legal all around the world. And one of the most exciting cars of all time. Why is it on this list right now? Because you cannot just shell out the money to pay for this baby. you need to send an application. I know this because I've seen the applications. You need to send an application in order to be considered to purchase a Nebula. And there's two types of way of doing it. Number one, you send in a 500,000 pound deposit, and that gets you a chassis number and a car. And the other way of doing it is putting only 250,000 pounds down, and they have to approve you. So I believe with the first option, they'll guarantee the car. Not entirely sure, but I know that Aston Martin for a fact is handpicking whoever gets one of these. And this is one of the most exciting cars in recent years, so I completely understand. Oh, that Nebula. I think these cars are going to sell for like $5-6 million. Easy when they land here. Easy. 2019 model or 2020, but should be out on the street 2019 or start seeing it in 2019. So I think I just said that a million times in different ways, but that's the case. Yeah. The Nebula. The next one, since we were just talking about the McLaren F1, we're going to talk about the new McLaren F1, the one that McLaren's not building at all, and that is not the F1, and it's not a three-seater, and that no one wants that car. There's only 64, and McLaren itself is sending out the contracts to whoever they think is worthy of that. In order for anyone to get this car, they had to get the entire McLaren enchilada. What do I mean by that? I mean, you had to get an MP4, you had to get an MP4 Spider, you had to get a 650 Spider, 675 LT Spider, a P1. If you have those cars or the rare cars from McLaren or did something rare to your P1, like for example the clamshell body, you have a pretty good chance of getting one of these invitations. Sadly, only 64 are gonna go out. The car is already priced at around $3 million. So that's going to be a fucking home run for McLaren. We're all dying to have one of those, and only collectors are going to get him. Absolutely fair. I mean, they're the ones that collected McLarens from day one. It's just, when you don't have like all the capital to buy each one of them, and then, but I wish I could. Yeah, that's one of my favorite cars, and I'm the most excited about. So the McLaren F1 makes it to the list. That's not an accent, so before you guys start judging me. And last but not least, the 4GT. As you all know, Ford's reviving the 4GT. They're only making 500 examples of it. They're saying that they're gonna do maybe another badge, not entirely sure. The car's gonna have a V6 EcoBoost engine. It's supposed to be insane. It sounds great, it looks great, lots of aero, lots of great things. I mean, Ford's a huge company. They basically have over 3,000 dealerships just in America by itself. And then I believe they gross around $120 billion in sales. Yes, that's billion with a B. So Ford's bringing back this car. It's supposed to be nuts. Not a lot of spec information already out. We don't know what car is going to compete against, how it's going to perform, but people are very excited about it. I submitted an application for it, got rejected. Ford had a very strange process of selection to all of us because it went completely against Ferrari rules. It went against McLaren collectors rules. They literally just went in a whole different approach. And I think Ford did the right thing in a way. I still hold a grudge about my collector friends, but in a way because they just went on and did what they were gonna do. They were gonna piss off some people, no matter who the fuck they were gonna piss off, because they made over 4,000 examples of the past one. So 4,000 people were gonna say, hey, what about me, right? So either way, Ford picked up the right people so they can talk about their car being rejected, accepted, and all of that stuff. Got the car completely sold out, and it's one of the hardest cars to get. Flippers are already trying to get $500,000 over for the car for a $400,000 car. That's the rumored price on the car. So one of my favorites. I wish I would have gotten a call from Ford, no question about it, and ended up not getting one. I completely understand. I'm sad I'm not gonna get it. But don't worry about it, guys. A lot of people were like, oh no, you're not going to be able to put it on the track against the other cars. We already have one coming. So don't stress about that. You're going to see it on a banging gear setting up a lap time very, very soon. Well, the moment they land. My dear Cup bangers, out of all these cars, which one is the one you're excited the most about? There's two for me that hold a special place in my heart. The McLaren F1 and obviously the Nebula, because it's kind of like the new age McLaren F1, like the real deal. And oh man, even that MC12, I wish I could get one of those. So if everything goes well, hopefully one day in the future, I'll be getting one of those, making a flip. I don't know. Who knows? But Cup to the bangers, please let me know which one of those is your favorite. I'm dying to know down in the comments down below. I'm Alejandro, and I do not approve this message. Take it easy, guys. Thank you for watching.